For 4 years, she believed he was protecting her. Whenever something felt strange, he always had an explanation. There's nothing to worry about. I'm handling it. You don't need to carry that burden. And every time he said those words, she felt relieved. Years later, when she finally understood what had happened, she realized those promises had never been about protecting her. They had been about controlling what she knew. Dark psychology has a name for relationships built on managed information control. And what made it so dangerous was that it felt like care. Before she met Michael, Olivia trusted people easily, not blindly, not recklessly, but genuinely. She believed trust was a gift you gave before it was earned, a sign of goodwill, a sign of love. Her father used to tell her something when she was young. Don't worry about adult problems. Whenever something difficult happened, she was told not to ask questions, not because anyone wanted to hurt her, because they believed ignorance would keep her safe. As a child, she learned something quietly. The people who love you decide what you need to know. That lesson followed her into adulthood, and when Michael entered her life, it felt familiar. Michael never appeared controlling. That was the first reason nobody noticed. He encouraged her career, supported her goals, remembered important dates, showed up when she needed him. From the outside, he looked like a good partner. The manipulation was not in what he did. It was in what he decided she didn't need to know. The first missing piece seemed insignificant, a financial problem. He mentioned it briefly, then stopped talking about it. Whenever she asked questions, he smiled and told her everything was under control. She trusted him, so she stopped asking. Months later, another missing piece appeared. Then another, and another, not lies. Omissions. Important conversations she never heard, decisions made before she entered the room, plans discussed after she left. Each omission seemed too small to matter, but together they created something powerful, an incomplete reality. Dark psychology often relies on a simple principle. People cannot react to information they do not possess. If someone controls what you know, they influence the decisions you make. And the most effective version of that control does not feel controlling. It feels protective. The damage accumulated slowly, so slowly she never saw it happening. She stopped questioning things, stopped challenging inconsistencies, stopped listening to the small voice that said something felt wrong. Whenever discomfort appeared, Michael offered reassurance, and reassurance became a substitute for truth. That distinction matters because reassurance calms anxiety, truth creates clarity, and those are not the same thing. Years passed. Then one afternoon, everything changed. The discovery itself was almost accidental. A document left open, a conversation overheard, a detail connected to another detail. Nothing dramatic, nothing cinematic. Just enough information for the picture to begin assembling itself. At first, she thought there had been a misunderstanding. Then she found another missing piece, and another, and another. Within days, she realized something terrifying. The relationship she thought she was living inside was not the same relationship Michael had been living inside. He knew everything. She knew enough. Enough to cooperate, enough to trust, enough to remain comfortable, but never enough to make fully informed decisions. That realization hurt more than any lie could have. Because a lie attacks reality directly. Information control does something subtler. It edits reality before you ever see it. And suddenly, years of memories rearrange themselves. Moments she once interpreted as kindness looked different. Moments she called protection looked different. Moments she described as trust looked different. The facts had changed. The facts had always been there. What changed was her access to them. Recovery began with a question. Not why he did it, why he did, why it worked. That question led her backward, toward childhood, toward family, toward the belief that people who loved her had the right to decide what she should know. For the first time, she challenged that belief. Real love does not require ignorance. Real love survives transparency. Real love does not need carefully managed information. Slowly, she rebuilt trust, not trust in other people, trust in herself. The ability to notice inconsistencies, the ability to ask uncomfortable questions, the ability to tolerate answers she might not like. Years later, Michael contacted her again. He wanted to explain, wanted to justify, wanted her to understand his intentions. And maybe his intentions had never been malicious, but something important had finally become clear. Good intentions do not erase manipulation. She listened, politely, calmly, without anger. Then she thanked him for the explanation and ended the conversation. No argument, no revenge, no drama, because the lesson was already complete. The most powerful control is not forcing someone to do something. It is controlling what they know before they decide. People often imagine manipulation as pressure, threats, demands, aggression. But sometimes manipulation arrives as protection, as reassurance, as care. And that is why it becomes difficult to recognize. The lesson is not to distrust everyone. The lesson is to understand that trust and transparency belong together. If someone truly respects your choices, they respect your right to make those choices with the complete picture. Quiet. The greatest secret wasn't what he hid from me. It was how completely I trusted him to decide what I deserved to know. If part of this story felt familiar, share your experience in the comments. Not the secret you discovered, the moment you realized something important had been kept from you, because sometimes the missing piece changes everything. Next week, a woman spent 10 years believing she was overly sensitive. The truth was far darker. Someone had spent 10 years teaching her not to trust her own reality,